Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Words of Heart. In today's episode, we have the privilege of speaking with Gerald Czernohorsky. I try to say it right. Thank you for joining me today, Jerry.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You know what? I feel really blessed and honored to be on your show. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been listening to your podcasts, and I'm very impressed with many of the guests that you've had on your show, if not all of them. And I'm really happy to be able to be on the show.
Awesome. And it's a true honor to have you on, truly. Could you tell my audience a bit about yourself for those who may not know much about you?
Okay. Well, I'm a coach, and I coach people on living a life that's true to their authentic self. And I can speak to that because for most of my life, I did not live a life that was true to my authentic self, and that can lead to a whole lot of hurt and pain, emotional and stress when you're not living to your values, not living to who you are and to what you're supposed to be doing and what your purpose is in life. So after years of struggling with that, I decided to just try to do things on my own. And I felt a lot more comfortable trying different things. I tried to do some real estate investing, but I wasn't very successful. But nonetheless, it was a learning experience, and it brought me into the coaching world. So I do coaching now. I'm a certified life coach, and I take my clients through a whole process, a framework, if you would, and it really starts with awareness, or saying yes to coaching. You have to realize that I want changes in my life, and coaching is usually a way that can help you get those changes or get to those changes quicker. So there's got to be awareness. That's the very first thing on the list. And then once you become aware that you want to be a coach, you almost have to do an audit of your life. You really have to get to know yourself, and you have to figure out, where is the imbalance in my life. It could be, I have a great job, but I have no time for family and friends. So how do you structure your life so you get more time for family and friends? Or it could be that you have a great family and you have a decent job, but you don't have enough time to take care of yourself, your health. So really you got to look at your life and figure out what needs work. And believe me, we all have a part in our life that we need to improve upon and become better. And then once you figured that out, you start working, or I start working with the clients on holding them accountable, because accountability, there's empowerment in that. Once you can, become accountable to yourself, it's really empowering, and it shows you that, like, wow, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it feels great. And so once you get to that point, then we can look at um, setting up goals, what I like to call big goals. But you break those big goals into small steps so that you can see progress on a daily and weekly and monthly basis until you hit your big goals. Or you usually have them work on one goal at a time. And of course, when you're working towards goals, you need to set up habits, right? So, for instance, if you want to get in better shape, right? You've got to do you've got to do the same routine on a regular basis. So that's called building habits. So it's usually good to do them on a regular schedule, the same day of the week, the same time. This way, you get it. It almost trains your brain to realize that, okay, I got to work out tomorrow morning at 6, or I got to go to the gym, or whatever it is. So it's really about building habits and making sure that they're consistent. And once you get to that point where you've built some pretty good routine and habits in your life, you are then looking to kind of reflect upon everything, and you need uh, time to look inside, and that takes a lot of courage. With balanced reflection, it makes you look at your life objectively, and being honest with yourself and saying, okay, I'm doing really well at this and this, but I need more work with going running 3 times a week. I go to the gym 3 times a week, but I don't run as consistently. So it's just being honest with yourself, and then with the balanced reflection, hopefully you realize what you need to work on, and then you work on that consistency. And that's just being consistent with your action. Uh, Consistency will win the race in the long run. It's not about, just trying to do everything as quickly as possible without any thought to it or any real reflection. But consistency, doing it on a consistent basis, will definitely um, help you get to your goals. And you want to also move out of your comfort zone, which is something that I talk to the clients usually once they're really comfortable with everything. um, and challenge your comfort zone. It's basically you're raising the stakes. You're moving out of your boundaries of comfort, and you're working towards something that's a little bit scary because you're not used to being out of your comfort zone. But once you can get out of your comfort zone on a consistent basis, it becomes easier. And then, of course, once you've gone through all of these steps, you're at a point now where you've almost mastered uh, your level of learning new skills, and you feel more confident, more comfortable. So that's essentially, the steps I take, the framework I use when I'm coaching a client.
I truly admire your coaching method, and I have, like, as you were talking, I like placed these 3 specific words that you mentioned in my head: authenticity, awareness, and accountability.
Yeah,
Like the three triple A's. So I completely understand, with any type of change requires growth. Um, on a personal level, for myself, I was never really good with change. I absolutely hated the idea of change. And it wasn't until I undergone probably I had a lot of health issues growing up. So change was a constant thing in my life. But it wasn't until I got diagnosed with diabetes a year ago at the start of the pandemic that I actually had to embrace change, really, because I had no choice in the matter, really, because
yeah,
um, by being diagnosed, I saw as God's way of giving my life more purpose. And if I hadn't been diagnosed, I could have died, which would have been really sad and heartbreaking for everyone involved. So I took that particular change in my life, being diagnosed, in stride and just embraced it 150%. I injected myself with insulin every day. I tried new foods. And so I completely understand having to accept change, even though it may not be easy, but it's a part of life. And considering what you just told me about how you help your clients with achieve their authentic selves, how do you feel that has applied to the season we are currently in? Do you think people are finding it easier to find authentic selves, considering everything is on pause and limited because of the pandemic? How has that exactly helped your business, considering what you do?
well, there's definitely a much larger demand for life coaches since the pandemic started, because people are looking for answers and they're looking for help, and some people are looking just for someone to talk to, right? So I think that there are more people out there right now looking for the answers, and many of them come to coaching, because a lot of people aren't working the normal hours or not working at all, and they have all this time on their hands, and it gives them time to really think about, okay, wow, like this is an opportunity. Instead of thinking about, oh, I'm not working or this sucks or whatever, they see it as an opportunity for personal growth. And I think that that's where a lot of people are coming to coaching, because they don't want to go back to what they had before. They want it, they want it better. They want their life to be better. And so, because maybe they have a little bit more time, and they've had a chance to reflect, and now they want to focus on, okay, how can I have a better life? How can things go better for me? And you know what? It's not everyone's going to think like that, right? There are other people that are just, they're going to be pessimistic about it, and they're going to be downtrodden, and they're going to be, like, when is this thing going to be over? And but the ones that are, interested in change, and interested in personal growth, personal development, they're coming to see coaches. So I know a lot of other coaches, because I got certified, and through the certification process, I got to know other coaches, and they're all saying the same thing. It's time for it's a great time for coaches, because there are people out there that really want help. And coaching for me, um, it's my way of giving back. And it's being authentic to who I am, because I'm a caring caring and giving person. So I hope I answered your question.
You did answer my question, and I truly admire you for using your caring spirit as part of your coaching method. Some people, I mean, I know with any job field, it's money related because you have to make a living and you have to put food on the table and everything. But um, I think it has more character to who you are if you actually put some heart into actually what you are doing. And I believe that's the same case for you as well. You actually put heart into what you're doing. It's not exactly about money. And that's also a real part to why, well, I wouldn't say money is why I started this podcast, because obviously I don't have any money, but my heart for wanting to help others and understanding the fact that this season, as we were mentioning, has been really difficult, and people really don't know how to deal with themselves or how to deal with their emotions. And any type of positivity and clarity could be helpful to help make this unfortunate season a bit easier. And that's the main reason as to why I started this podcast to begin with, to help others get through this time a little easier and not stress so much, and just be a nice source of comfort for them.
Yeah, well, you mentioned earlier about, like, not always liking change, but this is change for you, starting a podcast. Like, I mean, like, that's big, right? Like, and I applaud you for that, because that's
Yeah.
something that I definitely want to eventually do as well, have some sort of a podcast or a YouTube channel. So good for you. And I think that, whoever your podcast reaches, they're benefiting from it. They're, like, when I listen to your podcast, I feel good. I feel like, wow, okay, there are other people out there that think like me, and there are other people that haven't had it easy. I can, if you'd like, I can list you some of the attributes of somebody that's not living authentically to their true self, so that perhaps your audience can relate to some of these.
Sure.
And if they ever want to reach out to me, they can certainly do that. So one of the things is, you don't really know who you are. Okay. In fact, you may even be uncomfortable with who you are, because you're just not sure. You're definitely not happy. So I would say you're unhappy. You tend to lack confidence, because you're not living to your values, to your strengths. You don't have that confidence that somebody that is. Um, People tend not to respect you as much as you'd like to be respected. Again, you're not living to your values, to your strengths. Okay. Um, job dissatisfaction. A lot of people that aren't living up to their true authentic self, they take jobs just to have a job, and they don't give it any thought as to what can I do that I'd actually love to do. Um, you tend to make poor choices in life. And believe me, I know all of these because I lived it. I made poor choices. I took jobs I hated, right? And you tend to engage in destructive behavior. For myself, I because I was so dissatisfied with my job and I made poor choices, and I just wasn't living authentic to myself. For years, I drank, and I drank copious amounts of alcohol. And then finally, it's been over 15 years. I couldn't drink anymore, and I gave it up. But that's because I wasn't being authentic to who I truly am, and I wasn't comfortable with who I was. You know, perhaps your relationships and friendships may be poor. Perhaps you're hanging out with the wrong type of people. Um, People tend not to trust you as much because you're not living to your values. You're not living to who you really are. Um, you're going to have poor inner strength and a lack of resolve. You're going to get easily frustrated and impatient just because, again, you're not living to your true authentic self. You're not living to your values. So you're confused. You're like frustrated. And there's also the possibility of being stressed and even depressed. So, and the other thing is you're always complaining. You're not being grateful. You're not living in a place of gratitude. So these are just some of the things that people that aren't living a life that's true to their authentic self go through. And I know because I probably at one point in my life had every one of those issues. So if anyone out there is feeling just unsatisfied, I'd love it if they would reach out to me because I would love to help take away their pain.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad you shared that. And on a personal level, I do understand not being your true authentic self in a way. It took me 25 now. It took me maybe 2 or 3 years or so into my adulthood to actually fully be comfortable with who I am.
Well, you're years ahead of me because I was in my I was probably in my mid 40s when I started to live a life that was truer and more authentic to who I am. So if I could reach somebody that's in their early 20s and is really frustrated, I mean, I could take away years of pain if they, wanted to find out how to live a true and authentic life.
Right. Oh, this is such a good conversation.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really am. I'm enjoying it.
I know you were nervous, but there was nothing to be nervous about.
Well, I mean, I just I want to sound I want to sound intelligent when I'm speaking, and when I get nervous, I don't always tend to sound intelligent, because you're just nervous. And I want to be able to relate to people. I want people to be able to relate to me. I I think the biggest connection or the biggest gift that we have as human beings is human connection. And it's something that I think we're all missing now during this pandemic. Being able to connect on a deep level, like no other being on this planet is able to do that as good as humans. And I think that as a coach, it's important to connect with the client and to reach a point where they trust you. Because when I'm coaching somebody, I tell them right away, and I tell them every call, I tell them, this is a safe zone. You can say what you want. You can let out all of your feelings. It doesn't go any further than me. I'm here to help you. And the thing is, the type of coaching that I do is I never tell anyone what to do. I only ask questions and I get the client to figure things out.
Huh.
This way, when you figure it out, you have ownership to that. And there's a sense of pride, and there's a sense of you know, inner strength that you get when you figure it out. You just need to hear the right questions.
That's an interesting tactic. Because I'm just gonna be honest, in my mind, coaching is basically telling you what to do. But in your case, you leave it up to the client to figure out the answers, and you're just opening the door.
That's right. And there are coaches out there that will tell you what to do. But I'm not you. I'm not anybody. I'm me. I don't know what's best for you. Okay. Only you will truly know that. Right. So, for instance, if I was coaching somebody on, losing weight, right? And I'd say, okay, you got to start running. But that could be the worst thing for them because they could have already a bad hip. And if you're overweight and you're running on a bad hip, man, that could like become a serious injury, right? So I would ask the person if they wanted to lose weight, what's the first thing you could do right now when we get off this call so you can start losing weight? And then they start to think, okay, what can I do? Should I change my diet? Should I go to join a gym? Should I hire a personal trainer? All of these. So they start to think and they start to, say, wow, okay, so, but it's helping them, it's guiding them, it's giving them, the information that it's getting them to come up with the information that they're lacking.
Right. Man, that's such a wonderful tactic. And I would never have thought that if we hadn't had this conversation. So I do have that icebreaker question for you, but you kind of already know what it is. So I can't stump you like all my other guests. But
yeah, but maybe I could surprise you with an answer.
Okay. That is the joy about this question. Many people answer it differently. So that's what makes it fun. If you could have any superpower that's not flying or teleporting, many people pick teleporting because I take flying away. So now I have to take teleporting away because it's the exact same thing. So if you could have any superpower that's not flying or teleporting, what would it be?
Okay, now this isn't your typical superpower, but I would choose to be in a state of love all the time, where every choice I make, every decision I make, everything I say is done out of love, through love. So there's no judgment. I don't lose my patience. I don't get angry. Um, whatever I choose, I'm choosing love. So if I'm given a dilemma where, okay, do this, it's not legal, but do it and you'll make a lot of money, I will have the power to say, no, it's not choosing love. I always would want to be in that flow of love and have this abundant mindset.
It's a beautiful answer and not what I expected at all. So you definitely stumped me. I'm supposed to stump people. You stumped me with your answer because I didn't see that coming. It's such a good answer and a heartfelt answer. That's such a good power to have. So my power, which I guess you kind of already know, I'm not used to the guest being on my podcast actually being a fan of my podcast. So that's really different for me. The power I would have would be the power for this podcast to be heard across other galaxies that have yet to be discovered.
That's actually cool. I like that. I do. Um, you know, I really think it's amazing what you're doing with your podcast. You're reaching out to different people. You're getting all these amazing guests on your show. I know that your podcast is impacting lives. I have a friend, and we tried to do a few different things. We tried to do a media company a few years ago, where we only wanted to post positive stories, right? And he threw out a challenge to me, and he said, he goes, I want you to impact somebody's life every day for 50 days, somebody different, positively impact their life. And I did it. And it was such a cathartic, and I'm so grateful I did it, right? Like, I learned so much about myself, because you're really getting out of your comfort zone, because you're going up to strangers you don't even know, and you're saying something positive to them. And I remember one time I was just sitting in a coffee shop, and I saw this guy, and he was with his daughter, and his daughter was like 4 years old or something like that. And he was such an incredible father. And I just went up to him and I said, I just have to congratulate you on being an amazing dad with your daughter, because she's looking up to you the way she's going to look at other men for the rest of her life, and you're showing her love and kindness. And I think that's amazing. And he said thanks. And then another time, I was at another coffee shop, and I went up to the manager and I said, listen, I think you do a great job here, and I only come here because of you, because you make the staff better. And he was having a really bad day, and he just said, wow, thanks, I really appreciate that. And so I think I think what you do is very similar. You do positively impact people's lives, and I hope that you get, like, as many listeners as you can, and because there's a ripple effect, right? Somebody listens to your podcast and they become inspired and they become happier, and then they just bring that out to the world.
Oh, you're gonna get me all emotional because that
Not
is,
my mission.
oh no, I get that's not your mission. That's just that positive impact ripple effect transcending through my laptop screen, as you eloquently put it. But that is my hope with this, whether it's 5 listeners or simply one. Anybody could use some positivity. So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're all, like, people don't realize it, but we're all connected. Every single human being on this planet is connected, and um, we're all meant to. I believe that we have two purposes in life, and the first purpose is one that we all share, and that is to serve and make people's lives better and not make them worse. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of society has forgotten that. And then the other purpose we have, I think, is our special gift. Whatever we're really good at, we it's up to us to open that gift for the world to see. You know, and it maybe you're an incredible writer, and I know you write poetry. So that, I think, is your gift. Write the poetry, and this podcast is your gift to the world. And so, keep doing that, and don't give up.
thank you. Well, before I end up bawling tears of positivity all over my face, we're at the end of this awesome conversation. Do you have any social plugins to tie in for my audience, for those who want to get in contact you? Give us the inside scoop to how my audience can get in touch with you.
Sure. Well, my Instagram handle is at Jerry the Coach. My website is jerrythecoach.com, and my email is jerry@jerrythecoach.com. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, um, I do what I call a discovery call, and that can go up to 2 hours, and I don't charge anybody for that, right? Like, it's just a way for me to get to know the person, for them to get to know me. They want to know if I'm going to be able to coach them, and I want to know that that they're a good fit and that they actually would benefit from my coaching. So, and I think you can't do that on a 15 or 20-minute call. You need to take the time to connect and get to know the person and build that rapport and build that trust. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me today, Jerry. This was a wonderful, wonderful conversation. And I'm literally getting emotional because this has had such a profound impact on me. And I'm sure everyone who's going to be listening to this episode.
Well, I just want to, try to make the world a better place, just like you are. And I think that our words can do one of two things, right? They can hurt or they can heal. They can encourage and support, or they can put down. And I don't need to do that to feel good about myself. I don't need to put people down to feel good about myself. I feel good about myself on my own, and by encouraging others. Yeah, I feel better by encouraging others, but I want others to feel better as well. You always leave people better off than when you met them. That's my goal.
It's a wonderful goal. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you again for having me. I enjoyed the whole podcast. It was amazing, an amazing experience.
Awesome. To all my listeners, stay healthy, stay safe. Use the power of your voice for good. Please don't taint it or use it for harm. We're all here to help each other. So let's do that and shed some love to everyone around us. And until next time, bye.